Hi, welcome back to Moveable Beast. Moveable Beast is a poetical cabaret, and as we've told some people, but the thrust, everything has a philanthropic thrust. But the philosophic thrust is that this is a place where people shouldn't be doing their best work, but they should be doing their most interesting work. Bring the work you're working on that you can't figure out what's wrong with it, or bring the work that you think that nobody is going to understand because you accidentally wrote in Klingon, or you have a specific relationship to how a lot of words line up in the universe, as we are. So, it's the Moveable Beast. It's based on Fail Better, because we're also fans of Becca here, and that's very important to remember. Our last member is here.
Yeah.
We are a safe space, but I will also, if somebody is bothering you, I will kick their ass. And I will get David to help me. David is bigger than I am, but I am meaner, like so much. I just wanted to be really clear. Do we have any announcements? Oh, there's now a Zeke's Pizza and Heroes, because the combination of innovative poetry and noise music has caused us to need pizza and heroes across the street. The Wave Archive is doing it, baby. All of us 30 people that come in and watch something about French radical experimental folks, or no, it's Japanese avant-garde artists, movie theater, movie 7 on Saturday. So there'll be a movie about, which I'm going to, because it's in my wheelhouse. So there's that. But yes, obviously we are large enough that we now need to have food nearby. We have one bar and one food nearby. We're very fortunate. Lisa, any announcements from POG?
Let's see. I don't even have. But the third Saturday, we bring poets into Sabino Canyon. We write together. So if this interests you, to walk a little in Sabino, stop and write with some other people, and walk out. Sabino Poets happens on the third Saturday, and you can get on my mailing list if you talk to me.
Yeah, please go to Lisa. They've also been able to make it for me somewhat mobility accessible. So, I've been able to make my tremendous tie to the furthest WPA table that I can find and write in nature. It actually is pretty remarkable. But yes, please do that. I think there is a POG and Friends. When is that?
The 20th.
Oh, that's the 20th at 7 o'clock again?
Yes.
Yes. Is it here?
No. The warehouse.
Steinfeld Warehouse. I'm really much better at this than usually, but so thank you for your patience. Okay, this is our first one. We will have Moveable Beast in October, November, February, March, and April. The best way to get a featured reading here is come read on our open mic, which Miles is if you have, the other thing that's always available, if you have some sort of collaborative collaborative like poets theater or poetical group projects you're doing and you want a good 20 minutes to do it in, you can also approach us for that, because we're really into that. There is, in the future, we'll be having a little poets theater juncture with each Moveable Beast, where poets will read plays and act ridiculous. I was recently in one. I was a drunk poet, and then I was a flower, then I was an ash can, and then I was a star. Oh, and I was a French chef. And my dog was with me. My dog Slim. He was Snow on the Mountain. He was Tarzan, and then he was Success Smashing the Drunk Poet. So, if that's up your alley, you can start looking forward to these things. I'm really glad you guys are here. It was very exciting to have like chairs filled by 6:51, because usually I'm just like, it's my party and no one's ever coming, it's my party and no one's ever coming, it's my party and no one's ever coming, but instead you came. Now I'm like one of those, you have to say for 17 seconds to, oh, you stayed, and then you stay on the reel and then I do something smiley, and evidently this is what I currently need for my ego enhancement. Regardless, we're going to have 4 posts tonight. We'll have a break in the middle. Please donate if you can. We split the door between us so we can make chapbooks and etc. things. No collective members are enriched by your money. We are, however, enriched by you. So thank you for enriching us. Anyways, we're going to start with Daniel, which I'm pretty excited about because I saw Daniel read last year here, and I was just like, oh, that absolutely has to happen. He has a little bio, which I'm going to read because he has one. If you didn't send me a bio and I don't know anything about you, it was cool too. Daniel Altenburg received his MFA from the University of Arizona in 2011, and in 2019 completed his PhD in English created writing at the University of Arizona Lafayette. Daniel's interested in space, the familial, the intertwinement, and the vulgarities of colloquial and gendered language. His work has appeared in Spork, The Offending Atom, Blaze Box, Yalabushka Review, The Hunger of Jute, and Gigantic Freedom. He teaches English and lives with his wife and children in Tucson, Arizona, and we're so glad to have him at the Beast. Welcome, Daniel.
Thank you so much, Mary Rose. And thank you all for being here. Let's see, I'll pull these out. It's really nice. I have colleagues here, I have friends here. My wife and I got a babysitter tonight. My mom is seeing me read for the first time ever, not because she was an absent mother or anything like that, but because I live far away. So yeah, thank you all for being here. Let's see. So I'm going to read some stuff from a manuscript I just finished called Protochild, and it's about masculinity and raising kids, and it, like all my proto-child pieces, or proto-children if you will, take place in like a mythic beach cave setting. So this one's called Protochild 4. All dreams start with a cave, you say and smirk. My nose in your hair like your sea wind, my nose into your sea wind hair and cave wind hair and mother's breeze of lilac soft kissing followed by more soft kissing. To have 2 beloveds, I said, starting the day, undermines the definition. The rain comes and stops and starts up at dark. Our kid's first laugh blooms into the belly of the cave. After I gather the thrown firewood, you still have your finger to your lip, singing as if through it. You sound like Melanie Sopka to her mom. I had an unseasonably warm youth, I say at dinner. Our boy giggles himself out of his bedding. I pick you dark wildflowers in temperate firelight by the opening of our cave. Remake his bed with larger leaves. Read. What is beloved but some rush of parted self, distant but burgeoning like iron into a bloodied mouth? What is a mother but a breeze of dream? A cave is a cave if one calls it such. In the dream, I part the vines of your muscles and breathe. All right, this one's called You're good. This one's called My Heart Shows Its Horses. My heart shows its horses successively after each drink. My uncle digs at his chest hard in a blank room. My father doesn't in whatever Walgreens parking lot for a quick pickup of whatever cough med or gallon of artificially sweet something. My phone returns alcohol-induced hypertension and doesn't shiver like it's cold or it knows I will one day crack its face. My kid seems to measure his growth with his hand on the same white patch of the same horse. We're at the petting zoo. We're at Costco. We lunch at Chipotle, binge later the reboots of Press Your Luck, Pyramid. A movie trailer suggests that the collapse of an old man on his horse at sunset is American. His dog stays loyal till cold. My heart, babe, will stop soon. I jest to you more than once, but not the babe part. I tongue the pit in my tooth. I checklist bones. I once bought just condoms and whiskey at Walmart. The shame we feel for others is our own. What if I don't go red-faced into decline? What else can I do for you but not die? I never say, because what death won't be pathetic? The inability to speak in a dream. I drown in a kiddie pool through the wreath of hands and help. A fly lands on the toilet seat when I wake to pee. The sign of decay or life depends on the soundtrack. I toss some fallen pin cherries back across the fence, like I don't care about their narratives. You take almost the same pic as my mom and text it like I know what to do with the self in duplicate. My uncle survives, drove himself to the emergency room like an anti-hero or victim of circumstance. I look my gift self in the mouth. My gums hang like pant legs in a storm. What's more ridiculous, admitting I've never ridden a horse, the shame in not, or taking this long to tell you my small flaws debilitate most? The ceiling fan bangs itself against itself or rocks itself to sleep. My kid inspects the underside of the kitchen sink and looks like my dad. Through the window, the smell of smoke and the cold, and suddenly we're hungry. My Jen still eats its meals at the table, sometimes, drinks or fucks or dances or sits or hums like an elevator to Mr. Brightside. This next one's another proto-child poem. It's got references to Achilles and the Garden of Eden and the 1980 film The Blue Lagoon with Brooke Shields.
That's great.
This is called Proto-Child 6. As your breasts become more utilitarian, you keep them uncovered. In the dream, I can't keep my fingers clean and hold them in the wash. Squatting above my reflection, the trees people in, I tell you, my hands are like Achilles. But aren't I the mom, you say? Laugh, wiping your loose shirt cloth. You missed a spot. We treat the day like Eden, letting the tide at our clothing. We treat the cave like the Blue Lagoon, and I discover your body. What isn't bound to happen, I say, my grip about some berries on a tree. I place my thumb in our son's mouth because he begins to catch his cries. I push another digit into his fist, and he holds tight like any infant. Later, we wade to our waists in moonlight to rock our son to sleep. Surely, babies dream, you say. Look how his feet kick the seat. And they do, churning up foam like images in a dream, hard kicking a nightmare away, any godlessness or God-guided arrow or berry or anything to the mouth, more forks of salad greens without swallowing, sugar thin in the lip of a honey bottle, bald strips of our weathered clothing. Do I need to reiterate the difference between a cold and hot meal? Not what it does in the body, but how it reminds of the past and future and the fires and people and how we danced. wanted to thank Ash as well for inviting me here and opening this space to me and being my writing partner, which is great. All right, this next one's called Hyacinth Girl, and it's in a reference to a part of The Wasteland by T.S. Eliot, and the part that it's riffing on is like the Hyacinth Girl is this girl who is, despite like this like supposed relationship happening, she's not very interesting to the male counterpart, and it's juxtaposed against Tristan and Isolde. So it's like, here's the romantic thing that's not actually romantic. Also, I'd like to dedicate this one to my colleagues who don't know why I'm dedicating it to them yet, but they will figure it out. All right, Hyacinth Girl. This one has language, so that might be the one. All right, Hyacinth Girl. Every morning the sun and pain through the iris, shrinking so quickly. Imagine being that stimulating. The 18-year-olds open themselves on my phone. I relearn my body is something more than a balance of pleasure, and my kids' pitter-patter increases in weight, the pounding on the bathroom door, and I'm 14. What do you want? The ever-taught don't ask, but there exists a search bar at the heart of light, a silence. If I'm dying at 38, the hole in my tooth, the taproot to the heart, sun of the body, how many feel this decay and early breathlessness at 7 when I fall from a tree? The world is out to kill me now that I can name all of my mother's flowers. Hyacinth isn't one of them, but I wish the way it spreads danger in the mouth and bodily, the poison I shit out because its toxins mild, but its connotations for poets, perfumers, designers of body paints or house paints, artists, all of which are the same and taken with blur. I'm here to tell you to masturbate in the dark sweat of your office, the light from under the door, colleagues friction themselves forward into a wordless breath, and think of the heat you are left with, your arms full and your hair wet. The summer marigolds get fat in the head like punch suns, waiting like plates on sticks in movies, using the foreign to leap the galaxy a necklace of itself. You explain gravity like a weight on a trampoline. Even dust gets heavy and whips itself into hard strength. This one has a reference to Ray Bradbury's Illustrated Man, and specifically the television movie version, which had a scene that the book didn't have. To the ankle. My father in me says pussy, says fuck your art and poet voice. What is poetry but the day in introspection, when the grass is green and long as the day, as long as your everyday spine? Says, what the fuck, my kid could draw that. Here, let me have that. Let me introspect in public to redden your face. Let me flirt with the waitress your age, you pussy fuck. I fucking hate the summer, he doesn't say at 7 or 60, his pop's farm dusting his mind like hands. I fucking hate my father never says, so I say it for him. My father says his greatest regret is punching the kid, because everyone shouted his fist forward, punching the kid who drowned in the summer, and suddenly his hands, fists, and hot, or his hands just hands, buoyant in memory, cold and not refreshing. I'm sorry my poems have so much fire, Dad. I've a lot to burn. I'm sorry I scream through the smoke like I'm birthing things forced, because poems are kids that cough to life. I'm sorry, I'm lying. I never screamed at you before. I illustrate a man and carve new myth into him. Without the pain and veneration, his tattoos come to life because only my dad said they could. Son, I did not hold you above sticks, not because I'm lazy or because my father did me, but because we live where the rivers only give thoughts of fish and sometimes pain, the rippling mud out a crawdad hole. I don't know why I say crawdad now, but my dad did in explaining the many names for the universal, painting the myth with his mouth, the spaceman in black and white, the illustrated man, and sad parents killing their sleeping kids because of love, their hands, then fists, then neither. I'm sorry I'm invincible. I'm invincible to the ankle, son. I punch a kid right in his fucking mouth and watch him drown in my dreams. Goodbye, whitening boy, phosphorescent. I teach you because I want your tongue to impress. Practice it like the water laps. Say goodbye like I'm so sorry when the living leave you and with an open hand. Proto-child one here. This is my wife's favorite poem. Proto-child 8. My wife raises a sea god. In her image, to return body to sea, sewing herself into the ocean, her shoulder blades wing into distinction. See how mama flaps the water, laboring for his intrigue. You're my handsome boy, like water breaking around an effigy, an age when beings rose from the sea to receive. The shale and its vertebrae crests magnificent. My son watches from the paddleboard, magnificent. Bends his life-jacketed torso towards his knees, dips his feet to dream and own Achilles. A mother and son continued into lengths of flesh like time. The sea god, sexless because what's the point of procreation if you're endless? My son asks the Greeks with a foot kick what we all wonder in middle school about divinity and how to hate like love. Asks his mom if he'll get that tall, if that's how you brew brine, if it's lived a long time and dull, if she'll play monster too. Is it a nice one? Is he a nice one? If he can have a snack and his toys and armor now, when's the sun gonna be back? He's cold. What the seaweed on her arm is, why not to dunk his head too far? He can do it. If he'll learn those muscles and braid all of his hair genderless as the water unrecorded. Don't slip away on me, she says. The yet in her mind, the strength of it. And this one's called Masculinity Loop. And this is the one that was excerpted on the social media post. And I am it, like tag. A smattering of kids are songbirds, the trees are songbirds, the breeze sings like it was born with a beak and needs to shush its kids. Asleep, the lake freezes over like tag and waits for spring to crawl right through it. The fishes don't die, though some do. And I am it like apocalypse in a book to confuse amity with enmity and join hands, admit with emit and wait by the fire. This one looks like my father, I say to the clouds. It looks like rain, and the fire pit smokes. And I emit something like a songbird, the flapping like feathered motors in each cheek. The battering of a crankshaft in winter is like man-made spring untagged from stasis, and smoke through its throat hole. Always smoke. And I admit I want something more austere than a microfiche on child rearing, but that's all the library's got till spring, and a guide unfolding oneself into something less pretty. And I am it, you think, ready to carapace. In apocalypse, things kiss like kids and make up mouth games around nostalgia, and I admit an ember to mine, emit a song so hot it drops this instant, and me on repeat, birds spinning upon a needle. I'm not asking for sympathy, I say, resentful of lost sleep. And I emit like leftovers, like wet kindling, like before there was choice, there was beauty in an unpartitioned brain, enough gravy left for the poultry, enough Tupperware, and we could snuff a flame. Did you cover the wood enough before the rain? Did you? And I am is like a heartbeat, to you like a student. My son's quick breaths aren't shallow to a small bird. I could drown him in an inch of water in the bathtub and wait for him to shiver like winter before the sun, personify the seasons because we're bad at change. My kid calls out his dad and clouds his dad in flames. The crankshaft symbolizes anything you want and praise, like apocalypse, like wintered voices, like it found a beak to put on for spring. Tag, you're it, your cylinder, his carapace, his cylinder, your throat. Holy shit, you say, holy shit, I got you. I admit the gas and flame and breeze in like spring, a breeze like winter puckers my lips like not a kiss, but nostalgia for a more sincere set of sticks to rub together. This time with twigs I got from the center of a fire pit. It's kid still alive. It's kid still alive in spring. I've got to steal from the nest of a burning fire pit. My dad in flames. My God, I can't believe the things that survive the winter. My dad's hands at the crankshaft. Hold the light, he says with his hands. Hold it here. What?
You're about there.
Two more.
Two more?
Two more.
Two more? Can I do one that's a little bit longer more?
Yeah.
All right. All right, and I'm glad you said that because I've got one I've never read out in public before.
Yes.
Dun dun dun. And it's landscape. Yeah. All right. So this one gets its title from Allen Ginsberg's Howl, and there's a section of Howl that uses the figure Moloch, and Moloch was a Canaanite god that is mentioned in Leviticus, and he's basically a god that people would sacrifice their children to, and we don't like that. And Ginsberg uses that to talk about how like capitalism and it has like an insatiable hunger. And I'm kind of taking that and moving that towards fatherhood and masculinity. So this is Moloch after Ginsberg. I've never read this one before. All right, Moloch after Ginsberg. Dear Moloch, the kids are in the bath now. You'll have to come back. Moloch, whose pure mind is pure machinery. Moloch, whose breast is a cannibal dynamo. Moloch smells like young blood and parts his hair appropriately. Dear Moloch, I tried reaching you, but got your voicemail. It's full where you haven't set it up. Moloch with aching incisors and a commitment to tradition. Moloch, whose glory story suggested he peaked. To think, he used to eat the kids whole, right? Walked hallways wide with elbows to catch our sides. Seems forever ago. Dear Moloch, I'm sorry, I can't come visit this summer. The kids are a lot right now. Rain check? Moloch's arms would swing dark like shadows of tree branches. Think we'd ache our faces to the storm breeze to cool, but it was Moloch's hot urine catching rainbows. He laughed like water drips into a bath from a leaky faucet, rippling smile lines because it feels good to eat when food's not promised. Dear Moloch, I know your love is endless oil and stone, but this week is super busy. Perhaps a call at the end of the month? Moloch, who fell asleep on the remote, and the history of mankind flipping blue on repeat. Dear Moloch, do you remember your moratoriums? Do you regret the treehouse that went unfinished? I can still see the sinews stuck between your teeth before you flossed. Moloch, whose hands would not burn over the fire at night by the river's edge. Dear Moloch, you entered my soul early like light streaming from the sky. I awoke to your clean-shaven face and hugs hot with green linen. You smelled like musk and wet stainless steel. I broke my back lifting Moloch to heaven, but what a Father's Day. Pavements, trees, radios, tons lifting to heaven, which exists and is everywhere about us, and here's a tie depicting it. Dear Moloch, I'm sorry, definitely next year. Dear Malak, remember that story about you wrestling your father at 16 into submission and the pride and the failure? You told me that at 12. Dear Malak, how bullheaded have you become in your later years? I can no longer fear which remains in its chair. Malak, whose name is in the mine. Dear Malak, I swear I'm finally here like Theseus. Malak, who frightened me out of my natural ecstasy. Dear Malak, I wish to cave your face and now swallow you whole, shit you into something in which something will grow. Call me Father, Malak, Daddy, please, when you're learning to walk again. Dad, then hard on your tongue. Malak, whose soul is banks and electricity and who speaks like Minos. Dear Malak, here I go again. Hardening the history of it all when I was the one who asked you for your heat, crawled your lap to your naked chest, wove your hair until my fingers forgot their hand. Dear Malak, I'm sorry, Malak, for hating you through your ash and looking like it. I worry about the kids, though. Malak, whose crown pokes like smokestacks, erects himself thick at base like antennae, sexless, he swears like hydrogen. Dear Malak, I'm sorry, Mr. Coles, the past couple months have been crazy. The kids, I know they miss you. Malak, Congress of sorrows whose wink is a smirking thumb. Malak, in whom I wait on the rocks of time, skip rocks on his electric bank, time myself for how long I can hold my breath. Dear Malak, it is difficult to hate you and be you simultaneously, but I'm managing. Dear Malak, how much meat do you need to survive? I mean flesh. Are you the sphinx of cement and aluminum that bashed open skulls and ate up our brains and imagination? Or was that the internet or sitting too close to the television? Dear Malak, I have become fat with sloth. I hang like heavy diapers. My kids can't get enough. Dear Malak, 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 nightmare of Malak, Malak the loveless, mental Malak, Malak the heavy judger of men. I have your nose, appetite, brow ridge, heavy breathing. My daughter plays with my beard. Malak in whom I sit lonely, Malak in whom I dream angels. Crazy in Malak, wake up in Malak. Dear Malak, my son says I have your laugh, but I tell him he has it more. Real holy laughter in the river. Thank you.
This is, although I'm one that really likes lurking in the shadows as well, this is a fun opportunity to come in and find a seat, there are a few, or sit on the beautiful stairs, which is what other people do, people who are embodied, of whom I'm extremely jealous because they're embodied and I'm disembodied, just so you know. I'm totally interested in the fact that it's now landscape.
Yeah, right. It needed to be.
You know, for a really long time I've been obsessed with like the page and the idea that once we stepped off the physical page onto the computer that we were working like in a non-page, but then it turned out that wasn't true. We were just working on a screen, which is a form of page. Mm-hmm. And that's really been upsetting to me. So lately in my studio I have one screen that goes like this and one screen that goes like that. And I'm sure this is very boring actually to most people. I'm really sorry, but I have very, very boring poetic pursuits like counting how many ofs there are. But having that move one way or another, now I'll take it, I'll try it one way, and then I'll try it the other way, and then, you know, I'll try to make it, because, you know, you write books, or one writes poetry. One writes poems, actually, I don't write poems. One writes poems, and then one is supposed to publish those poems, and then one sometimes is lucky enough to do so. And then one realizes that the fact that you decided to take out the middle of the sentence, but leave all the spaces that were in the middle of the sentence because you want the middle of the sentence to simultaneously be there and not there through its space and its absence. And then you try to put it on, like, you know, a 6x9 or something, and and they take away half the spaces, but then unfortunately that means that half the words or letters are missing. So I've been trying to approach this by having two different screens, one this way, one that way, just to try to remove that end boundary. So yeah, it's a very interesting thing. So yeah, when I first started publishing in magazines, people would call me and yell at me. They would call me that Larkin woman. Because because ultimately I kind of think that writing is something that emerges out of silence, and so the page is silence, and then it emerges out, and then it's all merged out by hazard, or if not hazard, source defects, which is also a form of hazard. But then it comes out, and then my job as a poet, because I'm a subtractionist, not a creator, is to take that pieces out. But I mean, ultimately, if we took all of language and then we took pieces out, we would just have these infinite number of poems. That were the poems and the absence and the pieces we took out, which would also be over there. Anyways, that's my relationship to landscape and portrait. I appreciate all the love you guys given tonight, because this is probably one of the worst personal days I've had in my lifetime. So, but still, I stand here and persist. I believe that Echo is going next. No, you're not going. Am I wrong?
I can. I believe you.
Gabriel's going next. I'm so sorry. I'm really not very good at emceeing. But I thought. Anyways, I screwed it up. But first, let me talk about Gabriel, because he's doing this really interesting thing, but I am going to destroy your last name. I really apologize. Gabriel... Don't throw me! Gabriel Palacios is a poet and songwriter from Tucson, Arizona, and the author of a collection, A 10 Pesos Burial for Which Truth I Sign, and in Video Souls, which is coming out from University of Iowa Press and Cool House Poets in 2026. I really like the description of this, which is a lyric diorama of the vacant present and its half-remembered dream of soft and popular luxury. Video Souls traces the afterlives of abandoned futures through dead malls, night court proceedings streaming on YouTube, the 1990 view of Entertainment Weekly, and his I believe we're hearing a piece of his neo-noir musical product, Spanish Trail Motel, expands into these scenes into atmospheres, interludes, and synth-accompanied torch songs. So please welcome Gabriel. He's going to need a minute to set up.
Thank you very much. Take me a minute to have everything set up here.
So get us Elser.
To what that was the whole of the law. I was walking by and I saw that Moveable Beast, and I was very much just reminded of a particular beast, maybe the biggest beast of them all, the Great Beast, and or if you're interested in speaking in Greek, the Master Therion. And I have a quick little on the topic of caves. Some of this is to do with caves, or not to do with, but was worked on in caves, going into caves. First, a short passage from Liber AL. But her holy place shall be untouched throughout the centuries, though with fire and sword it be burnt down and shattered, yet an invisible house there standeth, and shall stand until the fall of the great equinox, when Hooke shall arise, and the double-wanded one may assume my throne and place. Another prophet shall arise and bring fresh fever from the skies, another woman shall awake the lust and worship of the snakes. Another soul of God and beast shall mingle in the globe of priests, another sacrifice shall stain the tomb, another king shall reign, and blessing no longer be poured to the hawk-headed mystical lord. Speaking of the hawk-headed mystical lord, this was a received in after in the temple, going around in the temple as one does. It was set aright, and the proper banishings and invocations were performed, and this was received. And if it's ever of any use, then that's great. Otherwise, it's absolute hogwash and dribble. Come forth to the place that thou fearest most, conquer all, none shall stand before thee, save only thyself, there is no question. Even now the movement, unstoppable, force unutterable, you ask for the sign, consider you this. The lion enters a contract and his hunts are bound. Your friend the beast must know the lady has serpent force. Drag not, wipe clean and proper, expedite the strokes. If thou truly wish to know, draw me further in, in time you will be given the king. For why? The properties of your being lack the balance I require. In time, focus on the basics. Now I've got to go get to work. I've got to go back behind the curtain and move things in and out of Tucson into buses and stuff. But thank you. Wonderful to understand me. Oh, no, hiss! Boo! Boo! Much better.
Probably going to spirituals like this. Not deconstructing their Christianity.
I went. It was flowing. I went.
It's not medicating.
Yeah, that's always the best thing. This has to be a what?
Yeah, we are. Earliest need love too, and he had his moment in the sun.
I think Moses might not have been good at
Just paraphrasing, right?
Find yourself by where you are and just start talking.
Seriously, how do you feel? Is it possible to dim the lights a little bit? Not a deal breaker.
lose it.
No, he's good. Well, we could just sit here in the dark. That might actually be great. Oh, yes, that makes it true. Sorry.
Robbie Mueller isn't with us, yet there still exists the filtered sun. A breathlessness comes on. Come back. I don't know how to say it. Off the highway, a magnificent scrap metal conveyor sways rigged up to automate the waffles in a home for permanent children. Pink Memphis Milano blood and patterning glass. No-knock smog, you dream pre-dawn. Dodgy circuses set up and stay for months, the spores out of the mouths of saggy old contortionists in mind. Miscegenate. We're held behind our highway walls from everything except Robbie Muller's filtered sun. It's hard to starve these things away. abject name. No other way out, no other way down. New ID in America. I hate it when we remember. Sleep a cold up. Sleep a cold up. Written bloodless, neon blue. New ID in America. I hate it when you remember. This is a poem called Come Unwheeled. And you know how there are those poems where people noticed something in nature or noticed an animal or a bird and that's like worth a poem. That doesn't always happen to me, but it kind of happened to me. I was thinking about mule deers when they come into the neighborhood. Any of you guys watched the UFO congressional hearing? That was on YouTube when I was falling asleep. Come unwheeled. Valley porch lights come unwheeled, come unhusked. Jettison your skin as smudge of light descend down screen. U.S. House spaceman hearing, not a dream, but watching it in one. Vacant, present, sleep to static rain. The deafening test pattern of it, 4 a.m. It's startling to hear it just before it slaps you. In the fairyland of certain verdant North American front yards unsolved like this by who hears me first. Mule deer with his whole mouth in the fountain. Tina Marie lover girl as wailed from an artificial rock. All the damaged gladiator wildlife still here, still, and lied to by the funk cold psychoacoustic information. Give me a disease or a career of crying at the crash of planets, holy interferences. It must be both for monks on mountains anywhere, ignited by this rift and all the going out for business beauty of our wrongfulest imaginations, grazing pronghorned libraries of peace. This is a poem called Linear Arithmetic, and linear arithmetic refers to the technology of this machine right here, where it has a sample and it has like a normal subtractive synthesis at the same time. So it's something very artificial and something kind of real, and together they sound like more than real is the idea at the time in like 1987, and it's called Linear Arithmetic. Brother, am I not aggrieved as your own one-room schoolhouse cruelties of yore? You wear the crate of weapons staged for true adventures, true confessions, true subscribers. Brother, what was my illiteracy worth? I mean, we're all rolled off the culture now, emoting from the same 64 factory presets. A kodo sound for church, the pipe organ for fun. Tuned for fainter microshades of lonesome. My silicone sweats everybody else's numbers down at any given time. Sad for us that we're not reading the same thing. I mean, does one grave end up desecrated more?
Emergent on the highway to the outer wood. Go all the way up the stairs. Go all the way up the stairs. Draw the blind.
Kaya Buildering, the commander of an outpost, flesh ghost of folk memory, sucked into his own wind-scattered footprint by the orphan's porous fist of earth, a primered Monte Carlo up on blocks, some kind of fish taco trailer changing hands, and the primordial mica-painted milk and bloodless neon arrow blur my model interstate, nocturne. This poem is called Golden Grape, and it's one from a new collection that I'm trying to finish up. All things as they tumble into being break in forceps of a love, the timbres of our suffering, what's transmitted when stat laughing, split new tongues, the radio I've borrowed from a house whose master rots unfound, shellacks the spray-painted body I am miming from, and mockingly, incongruously gold, antique electro on the boardwalk. The cranes and excavators of us whistle like two jet planes coming close to hit the unstaffed seasons, the reaching seafoam green hand from its weekend coins and snow. Inbound call from automated lady in her steel prefabricated hangar near the desert airport. This creditor in sequin ball cap rubbing her arms raw in the jet noise of summer monsoons. I can't hear the final notice for my own rapid decays. I can't stand this perceived water on my skin. Here's what happens when Sears decides not to even poinsettia. So late that you can hear the gasp and crunch of West Side Rex down at the midnight drag. No, mission horses might be what I hear. Province of that widow burying her servant's child. What remnant rain you pump upstream. Thanks, guys.
So, I love break, but sometimes I love break more than poetry, so I'm going to set an alarm, and we're going to have a little break, and then when the alarm rings, I'm going to try to get everyone else to stop having a break, because I actually do like break more than poetry, mostly because I get to talk to all y'all, and you get to talk back to me, which is really lovely. So we're breaking 6 minutes. Enough power and charisma that I could just make everyone shut up by standing here. However, these things fade over time. Perhaps I'll regain it again at some point. Hello, welcome to the second half of Moveable Beast. Actually, there's two things. I'm going to stop talking and John's going to start talking in a minute, but before that, I just want to appreciate everyone for being gentle with our Corwellian interloper in the middle there.
That was like a drive-by poetry right there.
We all have our obsessions, and some just go a little far. And so, and it could be me, and it could be you. It could be any of us with our little book of the law telling the truth, whatever we think the truth is. It isn't any of us, but could be me, could be you, really. Because you're not, you're lucky. Because that's not what I would want Hazard pushing my way. Anyway, John, come talk to everybody.
Take a moment to talk about Wave Archive, where you all are. This is a space that we started last year. Many of you have been here before, but I just wanted to let everybody know that it's a space, for poetry, performance art, experimental music primarily. And so if you have ideas about things to do in this space, please hit us up. thewavearchive@gmail.com. We have a list over there that you can sign up for if you haven't donated already to Moveable Beast. We also would love to have donations for keeping the space and the artists happy and all of that. I also wanted to just say we have a couple more things coming up this month. October. Gonna be October. It's gonna be crazy. It's small enough, I don't have to. But before October, on Saturday, many of you might have seen this already, we're gonna have a showing of Japanese avant-garde experimental cinema.
I'm coming.
We're gonna project it right against this wall right here. We'll have beverages, tea and beer and things like that. And so if you're interested in checking out some surely mind-blowing and eye-blowing, if that makes sense, stuff, please come check out Japanese avant-garde cinema Saturday night. For the poetry heads in the house, and you all are, there's going to be a poetry reading by Kelsey Venata, who's celebrating her book release on Friday, September 26th. So come to that. And then you can see a poster over there, Desert Drone. We often host shows at Desert Drone organizes, and they're bringing Charmaine Lee, who is on this epic tour of 65 shows in 50 states in 50 days or something like this. It's totally crazy. But she is an absolutely amazing vocalist, composer. Her work is sort of on the spectrum of sound poetry. It's wild and amazing, and I highly recommend it. Our own Logan Phillips, who probably you all know, will be opening, and the band Illuvium, who's a visual and noise band, will be playing. So those are 3 things happening in the near future. Please come back to Wave Archive, be in touch, and thanks you all for being here. Mary Rose.
I just want to let you guys know that I'm running about 2 and a 10 on my emceeing, so next time will be better, I promise. Anyways, I'm very excited to introduce Lou Davis. I first saw Lou read at Revolutionary Browns, and it was extremely pleasing. So I'm so glad to get to introduce him to come read in a longer format. Lou is a retired veteran. He's been writing poetry and social commentary since 2020 in an effort to sow the seeds of equity. in the hopes that future generations will dine on the fruit. And I know we all hope that. Please welcome Lou Davis.
Try not to break shit. My name is Lou, and I speak my truth. These first two poems are about my lovely wife and I went to Brooklyn and Long Island a couple of weeks ago to see my family and to break bread with them. And these first two poems are about the time we had. The first one is called Cornbread. This ain't bad, but Pop Pops was way better. My sister replied, you know why? You poured a little Caro on top. I said, ah, that's what gave it that sweet zing. Alicia nodded. We sat in a full soul food joint about 40 minutes from LaGuardia, hours before we left Brooklyn. Alicia for North Carolina and me to come back to Tucson. Alicia said, Chris is amazing. I nodded, yeah, I really got lucky. I took another bite of my collard greens. Louis, I'm a lot better now, but sometimes I lose my shit. Sis, you know my relationship with anger. She nodded. I said, here's what I do. When I get cut off in traffic, or that piece of shit in the Oval Office does something stupid, or someone throws out the N-word, my stomach gets real tight. That tightness is a signal to my brain that I am in danger. My brain don't know the difference between what danger it is, so it doesn't know the level. So my body gets flooded with adrenaline and my senses heighten like there's a big man coming at me with a knife. My sister nodded. I continued. Here's the thing. There is no knife. She asked, so what do you do? I take a deep breath and I say to myself, there is no knife. I exhale and I move on with my day. My sister looked past me. She whispered, there is no knife. I said, there is no knife. She nodded. I smiled. I asked, hey, you gonna eat that cornbread? She said, hell yes. I smiled. Thank you. This next one is very heavy, so it's called Windows. One of the reasons we went home was so I could face some of my trauma. I'm on an ever-going trauma journey, and so we went back to the projects where I grew up, and this is called Windows. The projects were no longer there. They were gone. Gone. Gone were the playgrounds. Gone were the clothesline. Gone were the two trees that served as first and third base. Gone were the two sets of swings whose metal poles served as second base and home plate. Gone. Gone was apartment number 35. Gone was the kitchen window that let in the rays of sunlight on that day in 1980. The rays my mother saw just before her last breath rattles were heard by her husband and her 17-year-old son. Gone. Gone. Gone was apartment number 3. Gone was the kitchen window whose glass shattered when my 17-year-old fist missed my brother as he ducked. Gone were the shards of glass that sprinkled beside my brother as my blood-smeared hand joined his twin as they choked him beyond consciousness. Gone. Gone were the echoes of my sister's screams as they finally snapped me from my red rage. Gone. Gone was apartment 8. Gone was the back window the window that he crawled out of. The man that charged at me, the man that grabbed me by the neck and threw me against a car, the man that said he could rape me if he fucking wanted to, the man that threw me to the ground and kicked me and kicked me and kicked me, gone. Gone. Those windows are gone. But the windows to my inner self remain. I can see through those windows. I can see the 17-year-old kneeling beside his lifeless mother. I can see the 17-year-old gazing at his blood-smeared hands. I can see the 18-year-old wincing at kicks. Gone. Gone are the old windows. I look through new windows. I look forward, and I like what I see. Thank you. I worked for Customs and Border Protection for 16 years, and this is called Acceptance. This is about me going to one of my work sites. This is Acceptance. I sucked in a lungful of arid Arizona air. I wondered if I should carry one in each hand or make 2 trips. The trek was about 50 yards over rocky terrain, both up and downhill. The 50 yards was between a helicopter and the communication sites, on the top of a mountain with a narrow path with steep sides. One slip, and I would fall a long, long way. I took the 2 deep cell batteries out of the chopper and placed them on the dusty ground. I sighed. Then I picked them up. About 70 pounds hung from plastic straps in each hand. The pilot shook his head and said, "Good luck." I nodded and started walking downhill. About 25 yards in, I was at the bottom of the saddle, so I decided to take a breath. My chest heaved in and out as I sucked in arid Arizona air. Sweat wicked off my skin as fast as it formed. There was nowhere to sit, and leaning against the lonely paddle cactus was out of the question, so I put the batteries down and stood in the desert sun for a few minutes. I was about to pick up my load when I heard a strange sound, a low hum. Then a bus passed. The pilot yelled, "Hey, look south!" I turned my head to the right and saw a small black cloud. The hum grew louder and the cloud grew larger. I looked at the batteries, then the sights, then the chopper. The hum became a buzz. I was 25 yards from the site and 25 yards from the chopper. If I sprinted in either direction, I would fall down the mountain. The buzz got louder. The cloud got closer. I took a deep breath. I closed my eyes. The buzz became a roar. I slowed my breath. I slowed my thoughts. I slowed. The roar became a buzz. The buzz became a hum. The hum became silence. I opened my eyes. I turned to the north. I saw a black cloud getting smaller and smaller. I sucked in a lungful of Arizona air. I picked up the batteries and headed toward the communication site. Thank you. This one is called Understanding. I was 12. I was made a statue by my eyes. Orange and black fur held a godlike beast with paws twice the size of my torso. New York's Bronx Zoo gifted me with the most beautiful sight I'd ever seen. I was 52. I was made a statue by my ears. White and black fur hung from the skeletal zombie as it paced the full 30 feet of its glass cage. Turned, paced 30 feet, turned, paced 30 feet, over and over and over, all the while moaning a moan that drove searing spikes through my very soul. Las Vegas' secret garden cursed me with the most horrifying siren I'd ever heard. I was 62. I was made jello by black letters on white pages. I just read the true story of Oda Benga. My mind saw a 22-year-old man on display at the Bronx Zoo for 6 years. A man, a human, forced to endure taunts from children and adults while zookeepers placed human bones around him, even though he nor his tribe never tasted human flesh. The black letters gave me visions I shall never unsee. I am 62. I see the 12-year-old seeing a majestic creature not understanding the prisoner. I am 62. I see the 52-year-old seeing a once majestic creature not understanding the captor. I am 62. I see the 62-year-old not understanding. Thank you. These next two poems are about the poem I just read. This is called Behind Glass. As we walked down the underground hall, a sound tore through me. My head snapped toward my wife. She watched the dolphins playing in the aquarium as if life was beautiful. My face scrunched as the sound stabbed my soul again. Through thick glass, graceful living torpedoes chased each other and darted out of sight as they broke the surface, only to splash a few yards away. A smile tried to form but was ripped away by that sound, that moan, a moan distant, piercing. Chris disappeared. Dolphins disappeared. I disappeared. That sound, that moan encompassed every cell. My feet led themselves down the hall toward the moan like iron shavings toward a magnet. Closer, louder, closer, louder. I passed through an archway. There, behind glass, white, black, stripes, walking, turning, pacing, moaning. In a glass room, moaning, 30 feet by 10 feet, moaning. White fur, black stripes, hanging off a skeleton, pacing, moaning. White and black blurred through tears. I felt a hand in mine. It tugged me away from the glass. I don't know when the tears stopped. I do know I still hear the moan. This is called Iron. Iron. His hand gripped iron. People stared as they passed. He stared back. Children laughed as they threw pebbles. Pebbles plinked off the iron or bounced off his body. He felt the pebbles, but he didn't feel the pebbles. He felt cold iron, cold iron bars. The iron took him back 20 years and 8,000 miles to his mother's lap. His tiny hand gripped his mother's finger as his father walked in. with black dust on his hand. Dust from pounding boulders, to rocks, to pebbles, to dust. Dust that floated into his father's lungs. Dust that took his father. He felt a pebble on his cheek. His hand gripped iron bars. His bare feet felt grass. Grass, dirt, small and small rocks lay all around him, and bones, human bones. A femur here, and ulna there. His hands gripped iron, the cold iron of the cage in the Bronx Zoo in 1906. An African, a black man, an exhibit in a cage more than a half century after this nation abolished slavery. Oda Benga's hand felt cold iron made from the ore that his long gone father mined in his long gone land of the Congo. Iron. His hands gripped iron. Thank you. And these last two are about why I write. This one is called Boxes. I am an American, straight, black, male, liberal, existentialist, atheist, middle class, retired, veteran, Tucsonan, Florida State Seminole fan, or I am a cis, male, African-American, agnostic, former military, Arizonan, college football fan, or I am the entity behind the consciousness that exists in this fragile vessel comprised of carbon-based flesh. The choice is mine and mine alone. I choose my identity. Yet, society chooses to tell me who and what I am. You are black. You shouldn't be here after sundown. You are a white male. You are the root of all evil. You are an Asian. You are a good student. You are a Mexican. You are lazy, but a good landscaper. You are gay. You are trying to corrupt my children. You are a Muslim. You want to kill me. You are a woman. Wearing that may encourage rape. They are all true if we let them be true. We choose our own identity. If we choose to see a woman as an object, we dictate her safety. We limit her choices. We rob her of all of her freedom. The same for blacks, for Asians, for white, for all. I choose to acknowledge the entity behind my consciousness. I recognize that the entity is a member of a society. Our society. I choose to rebel against a society that places boundaries on its members based on skin color, religion, gender, or any other category. These boundaries create boxes. Boxes are for possessions. I am not a fucking possession. Thank you. And this last one is something we all need, and it is a choice. This last one is hope. The one who plants the trees knowing he will never sit in the shade, he has at least started to understand the meaning of life. An Eastern philosopher said that. I'm not going to try to say his name. In October of 2020, I saw disturbing footage on the news. The footage was from a body cam. The footage was from March of 2020. The footage was of the murder of unarmed Breonna Taylor. The footage was of a black woman being shot multiple times by multiple police officers in her home, in her bed. Our country is engaged in a class war. Breonna Taylor was not the first casualty of this war. Breonna Taylor certainly is not the last. I have no children. I do have nieces and nephews, and I love them. I won't live long enough to see the end of this war. But I believe if I write and I speak against it, the grandchildren, great-grandchildren, or great-great-grandchildren of my nieces and nephews may live in a nation where the marginalized are not casualties of this war. This is why I write. This is why I speak. This is why I sow seeds. This is why I have hope. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Lou, that was wonderful.
Thank you.
Thank you. You do give me hope every time I hear you read. And, okay, this is how bad an MC. I had everything on my phone set up, but now my phone's dead. Now I have Lisa's phone. So I terrible. I like now Lisa's phone is like showing, and I don't know. I need to grab it.
Maybe we ought to do this together.
I'm done. Thank you. Well, also it's also because I don't know Echo Silvertongue's work, which is one of the reasons that I needed to read this. But one of the best things I can say about Echo is that I looked at them when they were here, and I'm kind of face blind, but I recognized the astonishing eye makeup. So I'm sure you are amazing, being that you are a lover of mind airs, kissers of scars, of vessels, of fractured soul, artifice, and artistic conceit. And also you could probably move a lot of those words around and everything would still be true. And also a light source, forgotten shadows. So please, welcome Echo.
Okay, give me just a second. This phone I'm using is my grandmother. She passed away last year, and this thing is like bare minimum, so it loads things really slow. So, beginning of September last year is when I moved down here from Phoenix. So this is gets to be a bit of a look back. I did write this one at the end of last semester, but it's still appropriate. This one is called Honor Your Beginnings. Phoenix key to remember, beginnings come from the ember. Dying was scary, birth now a struggle, fear and joy a constant juggle. Take wing, have fun, it takes courage to fly, forever paired with, and I'm not sure I can try. To fall isn't failing, to survive is a tale, bold as the fire, one we all share. Wax has melted, our feathers molt, plaster hides our poppy jolts. Wake to rolling, balling, toil, crumpled, sore, joints need oil. We rise to review our rotten luck. It hurts, we've lost, but also gained. From the ruins our pluck reclaimed. In mud we heal, from burns we earn, changed for always by lessons learned. From our ashes we write, inking new blue, prancing and planning, bruises fading from view. Jolted, jilted, lilting to drift, bouncing, inspired play lifts. Laying down roots, wiry, strong, mingle, untangle with night dancing throng. Inked stage, cloth, metal, and coal, considering all to become a new whole. In hometown, again home, one that'll last. Feet straddle the edge of future and past. In ebb we reflect, waning, then grow. In wax we cast, lost finding our flow. Our scars hoard our wisdoms, our minds hold the stain. Our hearts again dreaming will swim sky once again. Singed curtains torn, shorn, and repurposed. Smoky tatters patched motley all over their surface. Worn wrapped around bone, hands again wings, stretched between digits, rewebbing with strings. From pad to fingertips stretched,
her story till now, and then some, is etched. Here at now by ledge, judging the leap, looking down at below, just viewing is steep. Nerves almost quaver, but footing is steady. Leady limbs without waver, certain and ready. With wind against cheek, she takes off, not quite graceful nor sleek. In joyful, fierce song, she steps over the ledge, stuttering, fluttering, fumbling, flung, and all in one gamble not to be undone. Zany and wild, a batty more than once broke, their echoes enduring proclaim, let 'em choke. With future seized and crafted grasped, styles of hope formed of absurdist jazz. Falling up and away from the shelf, taking greatest leap of faith in oneself. Here I'm going to put myself on display. This is the first poem, the oldest one I have on record. That's not great, but it certainly inspired me to think that I was good enough to keep going, which I mean because I can be very mean to myself as a beginner sometimes. But this is the sonnet I had wrote for homework in high school, and I realized, oh, I'm kind of good at this. I'm just keep doing it. You can hear the awkward and pretentious nature of it, but in the eyes there is sand. There is chaos in the waking, in the in-between. Betwixt the two realities there is no truth in shadow. Can you remember the fantasy you dreamt? Was there passion, was there love, or was there horror, never to be spoken of? There are choices to be made when you begin to stir. Do you advance into the reality of others, or choose to remain in yours? He's calling you, Morpheus, deity of sleep. In the haze you swim, towards the surface, or back into the deep. I call this the first of the names of madness. Knowledge seeker, secret keeper, holder of the book of all, for if ignorance is bliss, then I am truly cursed. The mind cannot fathom the pain that I feel. I hold these horrors to hide them from you, to make you happy and keep your heart true. When the end comes, I will do my best to find the answers that will pass this test. This one is called Strange Behavior. How queer these visceral twinges as I pull my own puppet strings, grimacing laughter, gleeful sorrow, a mask playing the person beneath its form. Psyche splayed as board game through our being, memory by memory. We chop ourselves into pieces, breaking backwards, snapping halfwards, placed upon the cardboard stage, playwright, player, and director, each role taking its turn of us and it again. One's desires, afflictions inflicted upon all. Suffering endured by turn of other, waits its time to revenge in kind, relishing with malice, perpetuating endlessly. Our madness spark, the curtains catch it, and our theater burns around us. We scream amidst the flames as we carry on the dance, limbs contorting, fingers twisting, frantic piecing, panting, fainting. And in a moment of reflection, we see our audience peering back, a shattered face crammed into mosaic, visage on the mirror, glass unbroken. To loved ones we beseech to help us sleep, and with their aid the ward fills another bed. Embers smothered by ashes, our oblivion is needle fed. This one I call Faithing. Let me drink of your pain, echoes ringing out from verse. Agonisms unversed yet haunts, insights surface by reversal, versalizing truth to sight. Here now written, seen in light, many are we singing trees, columns of memory, holding up our skies, stories dwelling in ancient eyes. Unseen seers of sentient time, tells a tale soul old, for fossil beginnings forgotten in cold. We of the plants, people of tree, we danced, sung, and feasted. We once were so free. The dreamers, the seekers, we vessels of pain, love and joy healers, the bringers of rain. We listened with hands, we spoke without tongues, crying with grief from lives before we begun. Our talents and tales, long as the night, spinning the time, praising the sun, and spelling with rhyme. Oldest of souls, timeless of people, crumbling bones buried lost under steeple. Bade us to atone ourselves to the ground, needle and wound, sewn into soil deftly with threats. Spinning wise little lies, oh, they're better off dead. Hurting your child, denying their cries, when flesh bleeds till it's wooden. You know you've been duped. The fairies, they stole. What's left is stuff stooped. A gray little oaf, barely of worth. Best use is the stove. Think nothing of your cruelty thus. Warm your cockles by the cold of your flames. But we, the kindly, care not for these games. Perhaps you'll find, as we cinder, scorching rind in unaccountable heat, that the child you hoped wasn't lost, would change back for you, was yours all along, crying in plain view, no gentle voice, no soothing brush, you who had forgotten learning who roughened your touch. So please, be kind to the children green. If we become wooden, we're already unseen. Your words can bring winter, wrong touch, sparking ash. We've always been with you, and you need us to last. Bargain careful, they always track their debts. Give us your offerings, we'll gift you in kind. Patience, compassion, always bring wine. And do not forget, a changeling remembers all of your crimes. Recently named this one, Gnawing at the Bars of My Zoochosis. Click, 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 click. Huh, I must be playing a different kind of game. Running mouth, draining brain, 'tis the season to go insane. Mind amok, worldwide weddings suck. Attention broke, penny lessened, trickle drip of useless wrist things, scratched up singing, skip, skip, skip. Mirror running out of faces, rolodexing all these flexions. Who among them am I? How many any are amongst us we? Find an edge, prime your stake, will to slash, saw, and rake. Intent be known, cannot condone, ghostly digits steal the wheel. Inversal flip, breaking hard to keep us whole. Collective actions made by soul. Eject from front, locked in boots, sleepy illusions, blurry roots. Which here is real? Am I now? Buried, lost in kind of vision, splintered dreams of spirit visions. If I must survive, why cannot we live? Is survival alone worth enduring? I compel from silenced heart, in prison of me, behind walls I maintain, when I was pilot of the nothing much numbness. But then again, I couldn't much hear the voices of who came before me either. We march on as we always do, but also forget, avoiding of eye contact. Made when despair, well, we rarely remember, but she's always there. This one is called Plucked. This is definitely some of that artistic conceit. To mind a message I wish to be, from heart a song wished musically. Through unseen paths blood flows and sings, flesh beats in rhythmic drummings. Resounding reefs of calcium sheaths, red and blues, paints the muse. With pulse occulted as hypnotic whisper, and bone sighing breath fate's subtle sculptor. Words carve our souls with secret spelling, our lives we write in storytelling. This one is called Reflective Cosmogony. Oh, obsidian night, storied full of stars, Nebula nursing, nova awakened, a you by verse, inversed, spreading outward, expanding inwards, towards sentient eye. Star shine caught to wean, reflecting minds kindled friendly, our shared spark divine. With growing rhythms, our rhymes sublime, we'll wake together and walk through time. This one is called Avoidant Non-Communicator. My needs are words, and my words are many. To know so much the meaning frenzies. With incomplete clues from words too few, to shut me down strangles tongues. Short sounds simple, simple, she's sweet. I try to listen, trying hard to hear, but nuanced deepness is not so simple, I fear. I need more words to parse meaning from yours. I know you need less, and I am more, but I can respect your lines if you allow mine to draft your edges. Where we are left, miserably adrift, hearts untwined, beats absurd, both our needs go unheard. I wish we'd talked. I hoped you'd listen. Stuck in muck, this fucking sucks. My respect for you cannot cost my respect for me. This one I wrote half in dream, like lucidly. That was a really fun experience. I call this versalized. Rise, surging waters, go forth to crashing waves, rush over through to river's end, but where is river's end? For I am the waters long carved through, I am the canyon channels, I am the relation of all creatures to this stream. Past river's end there's an ocean shore of beyond mind. Even should the spring melts dry the rains to cease, I am the ancient scar, felicitous filigree rivulet carved, and I am that canyon that will reclaim the rains. From clouded mind of pregnant skies, razor-eyed plasms howling wondrous, chasms awakened thundering under us. With resonant cries, I feel my edges, craving the sting, deluge of eyes, washing clean delusive lies. Pain-wise rememberings distilled as my essential lessons. Murmuring knees swirl curious, reacquaintance sparks re-enchantment, unfurling word sentience beginning again in mindful, remembranching reverie of the desert renewed by rave dancing. Dappling drips, ripples return, surface slips stippling brings mud churning flash floods, back into flowing saddle, if so parched, I miss the sea, huddle slow to sink below, and now my journey darkens. To nest in ancient cradle, seek deepest sleep, unlit noir, to rest in dreamless reservoir. This one is called Exciting Renewal. Hello to you. It's not you, it's not yours, it's mine, it's me. This is my fire, my rage, my fury and flame. It's my cinders that can raise a forest. These are my embers that nest in the hearth of my heart. An anger that has always loved me, my stubborn coals have always re-embered. My light that endures the winter, my spark clutching to warmth. So I may one day be who I needed to brood the unloved to love the unseen. Fallen to fear, uncracked between, clutching to hope they don't believe in, hoping to hatch, a willing to live on, unbidden, unhidden, to stretch, to breathe, to be themselves. Not this, not that, just follow your nose, beckoning to a smoldering whiff. How romantic! My heart pounds at the cage. What is that aromatic nascent? Oh, you like it? Just my perfume, very exclusive. Relief of the seasons from the Echidna Birthright Collection. Not for everyone, but if you like it that much, you might have a breakthrough with how well it suits you. To timely inspire and intervening, undooming their tomb, doubt making room, a respelling of bonds unshakable, fragile belief hateful and breakable, thin as a shell, crackling free of asphyxiate hell. Revive, survive, purge and surge, here to stay. We've always been. Ancestors hear me, older than story. Once nature in question, our souls in query. Our profane sacred rite of hatching across. Hello to true or new, evolving you. Welcome to the unfolding. We are remembered in your rebirth. You have never been alone in this. This one is called Endure Ringing. A laser focus, as of grasping a moment's flow, stews to sludge. Tread through now in aching trudge. Nearly frozen, can hardly budge. Soften, gaze, release our mind. Touch thyself gently, relapse, unwind. Our fears have faded, lessons lost? Fill core, fill out, heed the costs. Priceless moments slipping by. Reflect on how, voting to why. Recalling memoratory, lost way pays. Seek the stranger in yonder mirror. What found you since your lost found ways? Here we live inasmuch as youth becomes the aged. Remember, elder, life demands sacrifice. Survival comes with sacred price. Wizened we who still are, once just a kid, we've come so far. Feed the page, dress new the age, ancients ink digging of foregone 10, and dueling in gruesome fool, nose a drool, spinning loosens, spanning unspooled, tearing voids glisten in sky torn, silences of seemly screaming, death to cry, we unborn define. Never gods, from nether emerge, unseen taking stage, rage urge to be, aeons of always, scintillate show, I hazard the pleasure of uninterred conducting our syzygic intimates. We are the unearthed umber things.
And that was the beautiful and intimidable Echo Silvertongue. We hope to be seeing a lot more from in the future. We have a very short open mic, so we're just going to do it now, so none of you can escape. Our first reader is going to be Hooke, who is going to read poetry.
So, yesterday my second mama, when I was a little kid, passed away. And it's weird because I haven't talked to her for decades. I grew up on a farm in a little town. She was the only neighbor near me. And I wrote a poem a couple weeks ago. Last time we wrote, the prompt was to use a childhood game. And I wrote about that family. So that's the weirdness of my life. So I thought it was important to read that poem today. It's called Go Ahead and Kick It. And the woman running the workshop says we need to relearn how to play. And I don't know who she thinks she is to suggest something as asinine as that to me. I hide all week in every bathroom I visit, hoping in the dark for a moment to breathe before someone comes seeking my approval. Permission power I never asked for, hands and ears always tied together, the petting of and from my body, the demanding volume, decibels, hertz, and ounces even, the cacophony that comes with being a pliable vessel woman. Maybe she means for me to hide outside in some stand of trees, like the cottonwoods behind my father's alfalfa field near the flood canal, or at least in bathrooms with windows, so that some sunset glow can reach me, like all those times on Cropper Lane, crouching inside the LTD2's backseat, in Wendy's personal rust yard, the monster belt-driven harvester looming, the imagined diamond machine we cranked pieces of windshield through in the daylight, waiting, not wanting to be found, not wanting to be it, not wanting anything but peace and darkness. But she probably means I should stop hiding and find something to be curious about, like that one time my brother fell off the combine in the night onto the cultivator, the spike opening his calf to bone, the black blood puddles shimmering in the dirt. Mama Cropper standing over my real mother lying on the ER floor where she'd passed out, as the nurse let me see his bone and sinews and muscle tangles staring where they shouldn't be. The coffee can long forgotten sitting in the farm road center. And now I'm wondering whether anyone kicked it after some of us left for that small town hospital, and about how small violent acts feel like victory. I had a couple others, but it's late, so I'm just gonna go straight to the school shooting poem. So I'm a teacher, and that means that school shootings like hit me pretty hard. My chapbook has 3 school shooting poems. I've written several, and I don't want to write anymore, but then one happens and I'm compelled to do that. And I wrote this on August 28th, the day after the Annunciation school shooting in Minneapolis, and I'm reading it today after a couple instances of shooting violence. There was another school shooting in Colorado, and the biggest irony that ever exists, which is that a person who said that the deaths of shooting violence justify our right to bear arms. So there we go. Anyway, this is called Gun Country. We are all gun within this country, firearms in every fist, our holster states just places to keep them. Which fire burns us, our arms blistered to unfeeling beyond recognition, holding death makers housed in misinterpreted amendment and inflated conceptual freedom. Our flag formed from war from the beginning, ribboned by blood, the navy blue powder burn, a muzzle mouth for every star. We are the leading cause of death for our young. Adolescent hands around pistol grips, rifle butts shrunken to fit growing shoulder hollows, one eye closed tight, always across gun sights. Self-proclaimed soldier or fodder, we shoot or be shot. No one noticing unless the dead's mother's peripheral scream banshees through our deaf helmets set like horse team blinders. Why aren't children's corpses enough for clarity? What else could change our minds if not unmade futures? Even the queers are armed now, the governed pervasive danger making weaponized survival imminent. And who are they to blame us when they, after killing dancing, put these rifles in our assaulted, trembling hands like fear isn't enough? Until 8-year-olds are dead, and that one too, he was 10. Meanwhile, Gaza's mothers sneer at our self-inflicted crimes, our small statistics. Only 44 school shootings these last 8 months, only 18 dead, only 74 injured. And why is Robin any different than Robert? Or Adam, or Dylan, or Eric, or Omar, or that other Dylan spelled with 2 N's? Or Salvador, or Nicholas, or Sangui, who were all open-handed children once, until we closed their fingers, akimbo grips made to carry, and right-left-handed manifestos. And the thoughts and prayers descend on the already praying mass, the ones that are left. And me and my colleagues get an email saying, it's okay to be sad for just a little while because our schools are safe. We spent the $1 million to keep them that way. And I wonder what is safer than a locked nave during Mass. All that God and praying. They did the drills too. At least our windows are not stained glass. Yet. Thanks.
Our next reader is Lisa Martin, who's really good with the phone in ways I will never be. Lisa Martin.
Make sure my pipes didn't drop on stage.
So I completely respect all the topics that have been grappled with here tonight, but sometimes I read like funny stuff, humor poems at open mics for a little levity. This one was inspired by a Reddit post a few years back. And I should credit the vampire apologist. I have 15 years worth of outstanding library fines in 3 separate cities. And it's my hope that eventually a bounty hunter librarian will come to collect and will get in a bar fight and fall in love. I am a librarian, so I love this. And someone responded, as a person, I think this is funny, but as a librarian, this really annoys me. And Vampire Apologist responded, I'm newly terrified by the implication that librarians aren't people. And I've misjudged what exactly I'm up against. So this is my bounty hunter librarian poem. The bounty hunter librarian is coming for me, and I don't care. I'm only curious and frankly ready for an adventure. Will they drag me in cuffs back to my hometown in Jersey? Did I leave there with an illustrated copy of The Hobbit or Ginsberg's Howl? Did I disappear with Lady Chatterley's lover? Maybe when I was living out of a truck, picking fruit in the orchards of eastern Washington, and the address on my Wenatchee library card was general delivery, I walked off with The Color Purple or Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. Will they find me at Trader Joe's or the Shanty or Sabino Canyon? Will she track me down at my local library or the Unitarian Church? Will I be reading this poem at an open mic when I'm taken into custody? Will a group of poets overwhelm the bounty hunter librarian and give me a chance to escape? But instead, we all go out for beers and decide to meet up again soon at the Poetry Festival or the Mariachi Conference because the bounty hunter librarian is kind of hot and we all want to be her friend. Don't you?
Excellent phoning in every way.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Our last reader is Essif, who is going to read exegesis, which is a word I learned this last year, so obviously Ev is winning.
I'm not doing the exegesis today.
Keep them wanting.
I'm sure a couple.
That's cold.
Okay. Okay, I'm going to share one that's not complete yet, but I'll start it. Rhythm spanning a grand panda pentagram, scales like a pangolin portado pin plaque, point Pandora stepping through all 88 of every chromatic sandcastle. Do, re, mi, fall, and sol, my soul signed the time. DC Alfine, never mind the replay as I close the Alcoda Cobra. A transposition tempered by Tempranillo and the Demitasse as I Debussy, a diatonic depiction draft, many degrees and tinges of the sunbeam filigree across a solar concavity. Okay, this next one I call Anaxagoras theory. It all started with panspermia, Fermi's paradox permeating the permafrost, perspiring a percentage of presentience, 1,000 crystal sun faces destined as itinerant light, stretching a starched lens rinsed by Eigengrau across these Geiger counts that consummate the Richter detritus, living in gigahertz, gamma parlaying perception for perpetuity across the permanence of Parvati's unwavering prism, where were, is, was, has, became the what had, if only I would will my own convoluted virtue to resist the contour of isthmus seduction, imagine etcetera's escutcheon, excising ex facto's excrements, exchange exile for a discussion with the singularity, the subtle undiscovery of the mass susurration of our supratemporal sutures. Thank you.
Okay, thank you all for coming. This is the Moveable Beast. The Moveable Beast is actually put on by the Moveable Beast Collective. Could everyone as a collective member please stand up? I certainly could not pull this off by myself. Our next reading is October 6th, 8th at 7. See?
It's a Wednesday.
At 7, it's a Wednesday. We will have another remarkable lined up with occasional open mic, and hopefully I'll do a better job of making the trains run on time. Thank you and good night.